Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning into another episode of the Before I Go podcast. So, I have some news for anyone who has ever said, I can forgive, but I will never forget. Are you ready? You's a lie and the truth ain't in you. Period. It is impossible to say that someone is truly forgiven without making an effort to forget the offense. The truth is, if you cling to the offense, keep it in your memory, then it will continue to bother you and you will never be able to have a relationship with the offender that does not include tension and anxiety. I know what you're saying. What if you don't want to have a relationship with the offender? I understand that too. Is it possible to forgive someone from a distance? In other words, forgive them but not allow them a second opportunity to hurt you by bringing them back into your life? Absolutely. But if every time the offense comes to mind because you refuse to forget it and your blood pressure goes up, then has forgiveness actually occurred? The thing that you have to understand is that forgiveness ultimately is not even about the offender. It is about you. It is all about you. Carrying around unforgiveness is a burden. Imagine filling a backpack with bricks and carrying it around day after day. That's what unforgiveness is. It's a burden, but it is a burden that you can choose to let go of at any time. You can choose to drop the backpack at any time and walk away. We say that people may not deserve our forgiveness, but whether you choose to recognize it or not, in most cases, the other person does not care whether you forgive them or not. You're not punishing them by withholding your forgiveness. You are only punishing yourself. Colossians 3:13 reminds us to make allowance for each other's faults and forgive anyone who offends you. Remember, the Lord forgave you, so you must forgive others. When I struggle with unforgiveness, I have to remember all the ratchetness in my not-so-distant past, and every time I ask God for forgiveness, I have faith that I have been forgiven. And if God can forgive me, who am I that I should withhold it from others? But again, it's not about the others. It's about us. It's about you. According to the Mayo Clinic, unforgiveness can lead to anger and bitterness, showing up in every new relationship and experience. Unforgiveness keeps you so wrapped up in the past that you are unable to truly enjoy the present. Unforgiveness can lead to anxiety and depression. I've struggled with unforgiveness in my own life, and I can definitely say that my inability to forgive my first husband led to anger and bitterness toward my second husband and led to the end of that marriage as well. There were other contributing factors, of course. However, I'd be lying if I said me being so wrapped up in the past pain of my first marriage prevented me from enjoying my second marriage. Unforgiveness is like a cancer that just grows and eventually kills everything in its path. The true burden of unforgiveness is that you are holding on to the hope that the past can somehow be reversed. True forgiveness is giving up that hope. What happened, happened. You can't change it. And you may never receive the apology that you believe you deserve, and you have to be okay with that. So, how do you forgive? You start with making the decision to forgive. Before you take any action, just decide that you're going to forgive. Then, ask God to help you to forgive. Here are some additional tips from the Mayo Clinic to help you to learn to forgive. Recognize the value of forgiveness and how it can improve your life. Identify what needs healing and who needs to be forgiven and for what. consider joining a support group or seeing a counselor. Acknowledge your emotions about the harm done to you and how they affect your behavior, and work to release them. And this last one is a big one. Move away from your role as the victim and release the control and power the offending person and situation have had in your life. Forgiveness is not always easy, but the peace of mind that comes with it is so worth it. I heard Oprah say recently, on the other side of forgiveness is freedom. I believe that, and even though it can be difficult sometimes, I am committed to walking into 2022 without any unforgiveness. What about you? Well, that's all I have for today. Thank you so much for listening. But before I go, let me share this with you from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Forgiveness is not an occasional act. It is a constant attitude. I'll see you next time.